first day with the fans being here. Though we had a good turnout, overall the practice went smooth. We kind of go through those first 4 days, 3 days, and then we back up and start again today with the installation. So a lot of the same stuff they're getting for the second time, and pretty soon we'll be in pads and we'll go from there. So any questions?
Coach, the other day you made some strong comments that made the papers. I was just wondering why you.
Yeah, listen, I had one of those moments where I still had my Fox hat on and not my coaching hat on. And, I said this to the team in the meeting yesterday. We've had a great offseason relative to that, and I've been preaching that message. And here I am, the veteran, stepping in it. And, it was a learning experience for me. It was a mistake, obviously. I needed a little bit more filter. There's a pound of flesh for these guys. And as a coach, you stick up for them. And after a while, we're past that season last year. And I said what I said. And obviously, I needed it a little bit more restraint. And I regret that. That being said, what I told the team is, if it can happen, and I think I'm pretty good relative to working with the media and pretty savvy. And I just had one of those moments. Jared's a good friend, real good at his job. And 2 lattes in the morning, first one I see, and 40 minutes later, I'm regretting it. So it is what it is.
Supporting Russ was part of that.
Yeah, listen, absolutely. And these guys, and I said it to them last night, you guys deserve the best teaching in the world. We're going to give it to you. They really do. They're the best players in the world, and they deserve a chance. And now it's not going to be easy. And yeah.
You mentioned the GM that they didn't make the play.
I'm not afraid of the expectation. I've talked with several people about being used to contending for the postseason. You don't take it for granted, but that mindset needs to be present here. And so, yeah, I see this as a team that has that ability, and it's our job to bring it out in them.
You mentioned the GM and the president.
Yeah, look, both of those, the front office and the ownership, are the 2 reasons I came here. So George and I are close. He was one of the big attractions, he and ownership. My point was, it was just across the board organizationally. It wasn't one person. And, yeah, so they're good.
As you know, Robert Saleh commented about it after reading the article. Said what you said about McDaniel. Are you planning on reaching out to either of them?
Yeah, at the right time. And I think the world of Robert. I know him. I don't know Nathaniel. But, yeah, at the right time. I mean, listen, it certainly will bring more interest to the game and when we play him, but that seems like years from now. But I'll handle it the right way.
From an evaluation standpoint, it's hard to really evaluate contact positions based like running back. What have you seen from some of the guys like Tony Jones Jr., Beatty, and also Jr.?
Yeah, you make a good point. We're in this phase still, so we've yet to see any of these players with pads on. I've seen Tony because we had him in New Orleans. And so I tell the coaches all the time, let's not, be instant evaluators. Let's be slow to judge. Let's rotate these guys through with the first and second and third groups. Let's not, get stuck on where we think guys might be. And then gradually we'll have a chance. Right now it's, what are you doing? Do you know how to get lined up? Do you understand what we're doing? So that when you do have the pads on and we're in those preseason games or scrimmages, that, because it's hard to evaluate someone if they're having trouble learning what to do or if they're slow to do it. And so it is a little early, but they're certainly bright, willing to learn. They're working hard. That's kind of where they're at.
With those key starters, I think you talked about confidence comes from demonstrated ability.
Yeah, you have those moments.
What have you seen from him?
Look, he's certainly grasping what we're doing defensively. There's less change defensively, structurally. There's some things that are new. Offensively, it's completely different. But but I think he's doing well. I think he's doing well. I think he's got good instincts, and we'll just keep progressing with him.
Is Garrett one of the guys that you have sort
Pardon?
of like, is Garrett Bowles one of the guys you have sort of like load management that you're sort of watching early?
He'll be on that program. We've got 3 different groups of players. Some of the older guys. I mentioned this before. Obviously, anyone who was injured last year, and then that middle range group that we think are just moderate risk. So we'll kind of have a schedule for them. You saw a few guys that weren't dressed today. This happened to be their day where they were going to be down. With each of these guys, it's different.
Sean, it's only been a few days, but do you feel good about where their recall is on the outside?
Yeah, I do. I mean, the point I just made with them now is we're at that point. We're going to watch this film. We got to begin reducing the mistakes, and not letting a mistake you had repeat itself. And so part of the evaluation is, can they learn? And because it's hard to evaluate if they can't. And, but I think overall, I'm pleased with where they're at, the assignments. We'll look at the tape for today. Defensively, we did a number of good things today. And, yeah, we just keep going.
But with the new coaching staff, how long does it take for everyone to kind of understand what's going on in practice and how long that?
It's a good question. I think each night when we meet, I'll bring up things that I'm seeing that I want changed or I like. I don't know that ever stops. You're coaching the coaches on what you want in the drills, what you want in the periods. And I'm fortunate to have experience, and I'm also fortunate enough to have some younger coaches that I think have great ability and upside. So it's kind of an ongoing thing, and I think one of the traits you look for in people, are they willing or able to take coaching? Can they laugh at themselves? We always use that analogy. That if they can, they probably can accept criticism, and that's a good trait.
With us last year, we never saw him really mobile in camp, and this year, I know you're not really wanting to run in a 7-on-7.
No, but I do though. Well, yeah. I mean, look, you want to play it like a game. And that's what we're trying to simulate. It's hard to practice the spontaneous moments that take place in a game. So if you break down a whole game, 2/3 of it happens in the pocket the way it's supposed to. 1/3 of it, there's a movement adjustment, there's pressure, there's all sorts of things that can take place. And so I'm comfortable when I see, him climbing and taking off, because, one of those plays is like a 30-yard gain, and how else do you practice that? And then the same way with the scramble drill, when we're out of the pocket, you just begin working on that all the time. And I think it's one of the things he does well in the framework of a play is when something breaks down and he flushes, a lot of times good things happen. So yeah, you have to practice that and then get everyone on the same page when it happens.
How much did his dropping some weight help him and all that?
That's, a fair question. I'd probably be a better question for him. He looks like he's in really good shape. I don't have a good recall as to his weight a year ago. But me personally, I'm always mindful of receivers, running backs, quarterbacks, DBs. I like that weight. They come in right out of college, and occasionally you can put on some additional weight with strength, but too much in an off season, can slow you down. And so he looks good now. He's moving around well. I don't know what his weight is particularly. I could guess, but I know it was what we wanted when we left for the summer break.
Sean, your offenses in New Orleans were always among the quickest in the league, and from snap to throw.
Yeah.
How much of that is foundationally here in training camp in terms of just building that tempo?
Well, hopefully we're emphasizing it. It's in and out, up and down, on and off. In and out, up and down, on and off. And so it can be draining for the receivers that were just down the field in a 4-play script. But you see us talking about tempo all the time. Let's go. And it's a way for the offense to pressure the defense a little bit. So we're not talking about hurry up or no huddle. It's just we want the tempo to be such that it's really, really fast and it's different. And substitutions. We'll begin practicing some of that. But I think we're not there yet, but it becomes easier when guys know everything cold. You know, it's hard to practice tempo when, you know, if you don't know what to do, you want to buy time, right? All of us, you want to buy time with a test or something. And so, but we're trying to stress them. And so when the game comes, it's a little slower.
What have you seen from Demoy Mathis to this point?
Just his movement, you know, I think overall we've been pleased there. It's still early, you know. All of these guys, the minute we start getting into some padded work, I think we're going to have a much better handle on. And then, you know, we get into a preseason game here in a couple of weeks. We're going to have joint practices at some point. But so far the impression's been good. Anything else?
Sean, I was wondering, what was it like working with Joe Lombardi back in New Orleans? And what does it mean to have him here with you?
So I was with him twice. I hired him, I can't recall the first time. He was with me for a stretch of 5 or 6 years as a quarterback coach, and then he went to Detroit, and then he was back in New Orleans with us, and then we lost him to the Chargers, and then fortunately we were able to get him back. He's someone that I know very well. He's extremely bright, really smart. It helps to have someone you're familiar with that's handling a lot of the day-to-day stuff, because sometimes day-to-day I can't be in that room. And Pete Carmichael did that quite a bit for me in New Orleans, and was very, very good at it. And Joe's doing a really good job, and working with the coaches. You know, they'll keep me updated. Things change. I give them a hard time. You know, the whole group up and get together. I walk in, I don't understand half of what's on the board, and I'm like, what took place? And they tell me why, and then I agree to 2/3 of it and then get rid of the other third. It's pretty much how those meetings are going. But all good ideas, and Johnny Morton is someone that has been with me on several occasions. Of course, Declan Doyle, Zach Street, you know, and then the other coaches, they're all getting up to speed. But yeah, look, when you bring in a staff that's new, you have that 3 or 2 month period where we're all at the hotel, and you're here all the time. And so people have asked me, how do you like Denver? And I said, well, I know my way around from here to the Hilton, and now I know Route 25 is important in this city. And outside of that, I just haven't been out as much.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thanks.